Ableton's Live 5 also adds plenty of new features that make it a much more fully functioning DAW. So let's take a look at some of those new features that do that. One of the important things, especially for those of us who aren't using DSP and who have computers that are maybe about a year old or so, one of the things that's always really frustrating when you're using VSTs and audio units and all these different plugins is you always seem to hit a CPU ceiling. You can never quite seem to have enough CPU. And Ableton has given us a way to get around that. And that's the idea of clip freeze. Okay? One thing to point out too, in Live 5 there's now the ability to right click, or for those of us who don't have a 2-button mouse, control click on your Mac. And that seems like it's really kind of a fundamental, ridiculous thing to point out, but that's how you get to a lot of the new features in Live. So right-clicking is something that you want to try with your new Live 5 now. But anyway, what I wanted to point out to you is this idea of freezing tracks. Okay? Now, what a frozen track is it's basically a rendered file of the audio on that track. Okay? And it's cool because if you have a VST instrument or a plugin on that track, it will render the audio with the plugin, so the output of that plugin, so you have those effects built into that, and then it will turn that plugin off. So this particular project previously had a CPU well above 60% that made it real difficult to play through this. But after I've frozen several tracks, here we've got the drums that are on a instrument called the drum and bass rig, the strings that are on our audio key rig. All of these instruments, all of these VST instruments are frozen tracks, and now I've got a real low CPU overhead right now, probably at about 12%. So this frees it up a lot so that you can continue to add other instruments and other VST effects and that sort of thing to your project. So let's see what else is happening in here. Oh, actually, before I go on, there's more to this freeze that's available in Live. Now, freeze itself, you've got that on other DAW software. I think Logic probably has a freeze function. Cubase and Digital Performer have a freeze function available as well. But what's unique about the way Live does it is that you still retain the ability to launch through your individual tracks and clips in the way you would normally play them in Live. So my scenes here, that I've labeled some of them here as intro verse, even though the track is frozen, I still have all these individual clips to be able to experiment. So I can go back and forth and rearrange change the arrangement just by going through and experimenting with these clips the way I normally would with Ableton Live. So that's what's unique about Live 5's freeze function.